Okay, I'm going to look at my personal training tally. The key things that point out where I need to focus on, don't need to focus on so much, and the intermediary ground where it's fair to middling, but maybe I could focus on it a bit more, but I definitely don't need to. It's just there in the background working subconsciously. So this is my personal tally. I've done it previously, never mentioned it before in a sense, but I've got like loads of sheets where I've done tallies of things, and really it's for the position, checks, captures, frets, support, blocking, and obviously back to position, but position's already covered. And each of those elements we will be putting a marker against each of them to see how many we do of each, which then signifies the actual practical side of things. In terms of if there's a lot of position stuff, then it shows that's good, we're focused on that. And checks on the king, or we like to say checks on pieces as well, and it's not necessarily like a fret per se, it's just a check on it. And then we look at frets not slightly differently, but we're threatening more in terms of gaining a more succinct position on the board with the fret. So we could threaten a piece, but it's then really what's behind that. Are we threatening then another maneuver and another maneuver? Whereas a check on the piece is just like basically attacking that piece. Makes sense to me anyway. And then we've got checks, captures, frets, then got the support, which makes sense, you know, you're supporting a piece. Blocking, again we're blocking pieces, so that's pretty self-explanatory. So the key differences are really in the checks and the frets, but we'll see as we're going through. Hopefully it'll make sense, the difference between the two. I'm going to jump in on a 15-10. So position, that's 1. I don't think I'll be able to tally it manually while I'm playing, but we shall see. And position, it's 2 for position. And ordinarily, got to play it the way that I would normally play, I would just hit this. So we're basically putting a check on the pawn. Okay, so they've taken, so we'll put the fret there, and then a simple capture. Developing a piece, basically position. Looking for the bishop maybe coming out. Seeing as he's blocked the diagonal there, it's going to take a while, so I'm just going to bring the bishop here, position. If there's a time scramble, I'm going to struggle because I've got my pen and my paper, I'm messing with the mouse at the same time. Let's go for simplicity and castle, because it doesn't look like there's a major threat at the minute, so that's another position. And this is a fret, it's not a check, it's a fret on a higher piece, which is x-raying through. So that's the difference in what I'm terming as a fret. So we've got that as a fret there. And developing a piece, I believe, just bringing the knight up, so position. Queen's coming down now, it's attacking the pawn, and it's also attacking the knight as well. So we could do like a bit of interference, which is blocking. It's also defending the knight. Are we losing out anywhere? This pawn could get attacked, but the bishop is defending, so we will just do a blocker. So we want to get rid of our knight, so we can bring the knight back around. Nothing else really doing. Could go here, just kind of doubles our pawns. Although, if the bishop did take, we've got the bishop supporting. So we could go and attack their bishop. So putting a check on the bishop. And we will capture the bishop. Alright, so looking at this tail of the tape here, doesn't look too funky. The queen could come here, just getting it off the back. The knight's definitely moving, so we don't want to get a knight threat on it. But he needs to support the bishop first. Could take the knight off the board and the dark square bishop stuck on the back. I'm really plumping for the queen coming here, but the problem with that is he does have a fork. So we have to be mindful of that. So we might as well go for simple potatoes and bring the queen here position. I can picture the rook moving here, but he's got his knight out, so he probably needs to get his knight out. Don't really see them bringing the knights there. They're usually bringing it around the back, aren't they? Oh, and they have brought it there. Okay, right. So what do we want to do? We are defending this pawn with the knight at the minute, and the knight's going to get hit. So I think I'm going to plump for a position of just defending the pawn. And we can move the knight now. We can attack their queen. Obviously, don't really want it coming into the game, do we? I mean, it could come in and we'll take it. I think the bishop could attack the queen. Put a check on the queen. And it does have an X-ray, but I don't think there's going to be much of that. Let's hang fire on that for a brief moment. Knight's not really going anywhere. Could come back around again to attack the queen this way. That might feel better. Are you going to be doing any of this business? No, I think I'm going to move the knight again position. So we are thinking if they're hitting us, then we can bring the bishop and attack the queen. We're looking to try and do this. And obviously the opponent is looking to crush us as well. So the tile is looking quite nice. It's looking pretty similar to the majority of my games that I play at the moment, which is good. It's consistent. So they've moved there to stop the knight from jumping in to attack the queen. Isn't that interesting? This pawn is protected by the knight at the minute. Are we looking to reposition our queen, our rook, sorry? If this knight's disappearing, it doesn't look like it is going to disappear because this pawn is going to hit the bishop. So we know what they're going to do. They're looking to hit us here. Could take, but I think they're looking for this lovely power base here. No way of getting rid of that knight. No, no. Can't even come here now because bishop will just get hit. We throw this up, but we're going to get hit. Bishop's got nowhere to go really. Do we make space? Do we bait the pawn down? Pawn comes down. Could do. Then it makes space for the bishop anyway. It looks trapped. Or is there something that we can do with this pawn? He drops, boom, then his knight gets in. Ooh. Do we hit the pawn? Because we've got two pieces defending. One of them being the knight attacking the queen. I don't think they'll take though. I think they'll just push past. I think this pawn is better, so we are going to put a check on the pawn. You may still continue with pushing, hitting a higher piece, which makes sense. Still do have 2 pieces defending there. Might be one of those pawn pushing, just inching them down, inching them down. I call this my geek hour when I'm doing my little 5-bar charts and my little tallies against the types of movements that I'm doing. It does help. It keeps me motivated. It gives me fresh thoughts on my game. If I can explain it to myself as I'm going. It's attacking this pawn here, but it's really attacking the bishop because we hit it, then it's just going to take the bishop. And queen takes, then the pawn's taking, and then the queen's taking. Bishop's protecting the knight at the minute, the rook is on the knight. So there's a whole heap of stuff getting ready to be kicked off. So don't think we're fashioning any of this business, because takes, takes. Which is the best out of all of these? So we have possession. Position is our key thing first. Does it improve our position, whatever it is that we're going to do? We've got checks. So any piece that we can check, we can put a check on the knight. So that's our first mainstay thing. Any captures? We do have a capture which is underneath the checks. So we're basically saying we don't really fancy that one. Do we have any threats? We do have a threat of a higher piece, but it does lose us tempo in terms of going any further. Supporting. Supporting. We could bring the rook here, supporting the pawn. So out of those, I think we're just going to go with the check on the knight and weather the storm of the pawn capture type thing. Now we could take with the knight and we're on his queen, and if his rook takes, we take his queen. Or we can simply just go with the queen taking. Rook is on the knight as we mentioned. This pawn's got no protection, so if the knight did take, well, obviously we can't do 2, would have to be taking the queen. So I'm actually going to go with a simple, I think it's simple anyway, capture with the queen. So it's just hate narration mode. It makes it sound like you know what you're talking about, and then bang, you get checkmated. Right, so he's attacking us. Conscious this pawn's got no protection on it. I don't know if we're going to get it or not, because bishop might come and protect, or the knight might just jump here and do a protection of some sort. Bishop takes though. So we are thinking of moving here, but the knight is there, so we can't go there. Oof. Ah, so we're not getting the pawn. If we took, oh no, he's on our queen. Could attack their queen. Doesn't have to take though. Could always come back here and attack the pawn. Queen comes to defend. I'm going to just reverse it and just attack the pawn. So position, putting a check on basically on the pawn. So we'll go for the check. Lots of decisions, choices to make, but at least there's only position, checks, captures, threats, support, blocking, and then back to position again. But obviously for the tally, we'll just stop at the blocking because position's already covered within the tally. But no matter what happens in the game, it does help improve your choice selection of moves. Well, for me, it does help with that selection of moves, as well as all the other things that we've been working on with our mantra. So the rook is attacking the knight, which means we can take the pawn with the queen because the bishop is currently defending the knight. Is he thinking he's got a 2-on-1 on this pawn with the queen? If our queen takes the pawn, our queen is supporting the pawn here. And then I've got to think, has he got a fork with his knight? Knight can bounce here. And he's hitting this. Our knight is still here. So I think I'm going to go with capturing the pawn. It looks to be covering off this area. Can expect the knight to be moving because he's going to want our bishop. So they may get this pawn. See in the bishop. Ooh, yeah, so it looks like he's getting this pawn anyway. Because if the bishop comes here, then obviously the queen has to move. We come and attack their queen. Get it all uglified. I think it's going to end up being ugly. What else can the bishop do? Bishop can come and attack the queen. That move that we talked about earlier. So the bishop can come and it's supported by the pawn attacking the queen. Queen has to do something. May still want to stay on that line. Maybe not there, maybe not there. I think the bishop is then going to attack it. Because he's got 3 pieces supporting. So it's a lot of stuff kicking off. We're still waiting to try and get this in here, but it's not going to happen because the rooks are going to be, whoa, doubling up on there. So I'm going to attack the higher piece, so putting a check on the queen. Our queen's got, oh, and they've brought it straight away like we said. Alright, so simple capture. Maybe the rook takes, maybe the queen takes, looking for an exchange of some sort. Is there anything else? Our knight can come here, but the rook will take. And if we don't do anything, the bishop can take the pawn, and then the queen's got a check, but the queen can take. If we attack their rook, yeah, I bet you there's a move order that's wrong here, so putting a check on, so top of the list, check on a piece. He takes, and we take. Then he takes, and we take. I don't know, I think something's wrong with the move order. Take, just to get pieces off the board. Still owning this file, mastering it. Get the rook involved. Check. Check before capture. That's the standard, isn't it? I'm just thinking, is his move order better than mine? Takes. So if we take with this, his rook can take the knight. So we'd have to take with the queen. Take with the queen, which takes it off of this diagonal, so then the rook can take the pawn. But then we do have an X-ray through to his queen, don't we? Going to go with the check first on the rook. does capture. It's captured very quickly as well. I bet you I've done it wrong, haven't I? Let's capture the rook, and I think they're expecting us to go here so that then the queen can take the pawn. Unless there's a fork with his knight, but I'm not. Oh, they're moving dead quick. I'm gonna hit the queen. Oh god, I thought I landed on the knight then. I've got tunnel vision. Oh, what happened there? Oh, they've given up the thing, queen. Oh, and they've resigned. Oh, that's a bit unlucky. Using basically the candidate type choices, the positions, checks, captures, threats, support, blocking, then back to position, and that's my mainstay type body of trying to help make a decision regarding what type of movements that I'm making on the board. And it does help, but sometimes then you have to really challenge these candidate moves, and that's where then the full mantra comes into its own, where I've got my own experiences as to the particular position on the board, what is actually happening, and there could be some sort of fancy tactical type arrangement that you're just not quite seeing. So putting a check on a piece or a check on the king or whatever might not really put you in a good position. It might look good, but the longer term you might be suffering in a bad way. That's why candidate type selections, you need to take them with a pinch of salt and then marry them in with your full mantra, your full experiences, your full type of your own ideas and your strategies, your planning, etc. All of those have to come into play and see how it pans out. It always is based on what the opponent does at the end of the day. We were lucky in this game and we gained an advantage in the game. And yeah, so really quite pleased with that. And just break it down, just have a look at the evaluation now to see if the computer is laughing in our face. So pushed up, attacked, grabbed. I don't really need to do much narration, we're just having a look to see what sort of damage we were doing. Yeah, so this part here, I did think that they probably were going to be slightly better, maybe just with these pawns here in the center. So it all depended on what they did, really. It's saying e4, yeah, so it's like just pushing, it's pushing down the pawns and just condensing our area. But they didn't do that, and we made our choice, putting a check on the knight. Grabbed. I've stopped at this point here because I was thinking, well, maybe they could have done something because it's looking a little bit squishy really for us here. And they do capture with the queen. It's not too major at all, so I'm fairly happy with that. But then it's this next bit here that I'm thinking, was it done okay? The rook's down, we grab the pawn, and the bishop goes and attacks. So that looks pretty straightforward. And it's not dipping big. Excellent. And they forgot about the queen defending the diagonal, which is a bit disappointing because it is a draw. You know, it's showing a draw. So they played well, I thought. And these things happen.